Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Inks and I'm from IGS Electronics, and today we are going to be jumping a little bit on Schneider, and that product we're going to be checking out today, it's a Zelio logic controller. And as usual, what we do in other videos, so we are going to go through the wiring, check out basically the bit of the menu, and then jump onto the computer, do a program upload and a download. Have a look a little bit at what the program is of the Schneider logic controller. It's in some form, if you go into their function block programming style, then it's quite similar to Mitsubishi. So yes, and it's interesting. It's a good software. It's fairly easy to understand, fairly easy to work with, and the way they structure the things, and it's unique. I'll show you if you haven't seen it already. And we're gonna need a serial communications cable looking like that. I'll leave that in description below what communications cable you need. The Zelio itself, the programming software itself, I think is Zelio Soft, something like that. It's free of charge. I'll leave that in a link in description below as well if you want it. We'll quickly have a look at it, how to get the communications for the cable and with the controller as well. So make sure we understand how to make the communications works. So yeah, this is what we're going to do today. So without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, here we are. So let's start a little bit with the wiring itself. My particular controller in here, it's a 24 volt DC, and that's where my 24 volt DC would go in. Yours could be different, so do watch out to make sure the voltages are correct. This voltage in here already supplies the negative to our inputs in here. So from all these inputs in here, they're already receiving the negative input from the power supply that powers them. Let me just move this along a little bit. The powers that comes from one of these guys in here, whichever you are using. I tend to separate my inputs, my input power supply away from output power supply, but again, that's a personal choice because of certain things can happen in the future, but it's rare, but it can happen. So I like to keep them separate. So my T is supplying my inputs and my S is supplying my outputs. You can look at the outputs in a minute. So as you can see down there, from there on, I've got inputs all the way to ISC, and as you can see down there, IB and IC. Well, IB from IB to IC can be analogs. We're going to look at that in the next video, and it's a 0 to 10 volts. So and then there's all these inputs are in here. So the plus for these inputs is at the moment. If you look at unit as well, the inputs are working literally like a lamps, like for normal. If you ever done a wire the lamp, it will need a negative and positive. So positive has to come back through these wires in here. And if we go into my switches in here, as you can see, my T plus right here comes to my switches in here, and as I would click, it's installed. As I would click, I'll show now on the screen, you'll send that 24 volt back to that input and sort of turn the lamp on. And in our case, we'll turn the input on. So let me just position so make sure we don't see too much of a light coming in. So yeah, as you can see in here, if I click a number 1, so as you can see, number 1 comes on. So all it does is sends a 24 volt back because it's got already negative. It receives 24 volt. And this is input comes on. Very simple, very straightforward. When it comes down to outputs, there's two different types of outputs. So the ones I'm using, as you can see in there, is relays. And as you can see, you've got a Q1, Q2, and blah, 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 and going on. And you got 1 and a 2. 1 in this case, because you can see every single output is separated from each other. So there's no joint groups of them. So each one of them, each time you want to switch, because it's a relay, if you want to switch the relay on, you have to supply it with 24 volt DC, well, whatever you're switching. By the way, it doesn't have to be 24 volt because it's a relay and it can handle 8 amps. That's a whopping size of 8 amps. So that is a huge amount of current can go through for a relay. So what you would send in, it can be any volts, because it's relay, it can be any volts. So in my case, I'm sending 24 volt DC signal into one. So each one of these ones in here will have to receive its own separate voltage or its own separate supply. If they're all at 240 volts, just link them all out to 240 volts. If there are some are 24 volts and some are at 110 volts and some are 220 volts, you can do that as well. Each one of them works individually and independently. That's no problem. For me, as you can see in here, I have a 24 volts coming in, and as the relay closes, it will send out the signal to my little belt in here. So this guy in here will receive his signal through his inputs in here from the relay, and also I will have the lamps coming on, as you can see. So because he's going to be outputting only the plus, well, you can actually switch the minus negative if you want, but usually everybody switches the positive. So my 24 volt positive is going to come to the lamp, but that lamp as well has to receive the negative. So you can see all my lamps is here linked out to receive negative, and my 24 volt would come in. We'll send the 24 volt to the lamp, and it will go on. And also, as you can see in here, my little belt in here, this belt as well, the negative, the positive that's coming from that power supply, they send in that Q1. My negative is also powering my unit in here. So basically it would have to be from the same power side. If whichever the plus you're using, so I'm trying to explain how that works, especially when it comes down from power supplies. Make sure that the negative goes to where you send in that 24 volt. Make sure the negative comes from the same power supply as well. So let's have a look onto the display. Display is quite interesting. There's quite a bit you can do, and by the way, right in here we can there is where we're going to be plugging in our you can plug in memory in there, and you can plug in the programming cable into it, which in my case, by the way guys, I'm using not even original zoom in. This is not original, this is actually Crozet and Schneider is using the same programming cable, so I just thought I'll take that one in. So just plug it into it. So and that's pretty much what it looks like when it's plugged in. Actually, it's going to be a little bit away for now. So when it comes down to the screen, just you got the arrows sideways and up and down, left, right. So by clicking OK, it will take you straight into the menu. So let's go back up and start from the scratch. In programming, you can make sure you're in stop mode. You can, if you wish, you can program it, make changes to your program. I don't know why would anybody want to do that, because that's just would be pain. So, well, you can make changes in your program if you wish to by clicking this white button. If you click the white button, as you can see down there, the signs appears. So, and you can, let's say I want to change the Z and I, and you can start changing things around. I don't know why would you want to. So you can edit your program as it is without having to have any software into it. If you want to do that, and while letting it go, it will accept that conditions, and so on and so on. Then you can go to the next one. It's actually next one, and you can make all these changes. I just made the change down there. If I'm not happy with it, I'll say no. We don't want to make any changes. So just to be safe, if you want to change the program, you can do that. If there is some, I believe this is for the function blocks, so you can edit the parameters in here for them. So run stop is sort of a self-explanatory. In configuration, you have a password set, filters and Z keys in cycles of watchdogs. I'll let you guys figure out what those things are itself. It's quite you can read it up in the manual. I will leave the manual in the description below. So once it's done, we don't want to do that. So let's leave that one, and then click on. You can, by the way, you can the arrow right down here. That would more or less give you the backwards as well if you ever need it. So the next one down here is a clear program. If you want to wipe the program, then you can transfer the program, provided that you have the memory. If you have a memory stick to plug in here, then you are able to transfer. Just load it into memory, and you can go to the next. To the next controller, and basically it's a good way of backing up your program if you want to. So and after that is a version, which you're going to check out in a minute actually in the software, see if there is a firmware update as well, and we'll see if we need to do update that one. So and yeah, and then there's a language, and then there's a fault logs, and change date, change DH. I don't know what that is. Oh yeah, I think you changed the dates. So we're not going to touch that as well. So let's just leave. So and here in the fault log, if you have any faults, just go in it and it will tell you what fault numbers it is and things like that. So at the moment I got 0, there's nothing in it because I've got no faults. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, this is the general controller. Hopefully it's giving you a good understanding so what each thing does. So here we go. Let's return back to the screen itself. And again, usually when you start up your screen, your controller, this screen here can be used for other things as well. I'll see if I make a video because this can display all different things if you want to. So I'll see in the future if we want to make a video on that. And also these buttons in here, they can be programmed and they can interact with your program however you want to set up what sort of interaction you want to do. So these buttons in here can be programmed to basically interact with the program within the actual controller. So that's the controller itself. So it's a very good controller, very well built. So I'm not sure I mentioned, so obviously I think I forgot to mention in here, so you can see that I did mention the IB to IC is our analog input. I'm not sure I mentioned that one. So I haven't done that, so let's position that one so that some light little bit comes up. Ooh, table bouncer. So let's go into the laptop, download the software from Schneider, and we go from there. So before we get started, what we need to do, we need to go down to a Schneider Electric website and get ourselves a Zelio Soft. You can Google it or just click a link in description below. So I'll take you to this page right in here, download that file, and from there on, I'm pretty sure that the installation is quite straightforward, and I don't think you will have any problems with it. So there's the software that I already installed on the computer. So let's open up. And for the size of the software, it does take its time to open up. I don't know why. And by the looks of it, I'm not sure when last time Schneider has actually updated it. So it does look it's still got these old Telemécanique writings. So from there on, what we need to do is first set the ports up. So the ports, basically the COM ports, because every serial to USB converter will always be assigned to some form of COM. So as you can see down there, I already have set my one up. My one is COM6. But to check what COM you are on, just go into the search, which is on my other screen, by the way. So we're going to go into control panel. No, manager, device manager, sorry. Device manager in your search bar. I'm doing this on another screen. I'll pull it across in a minute once it opens up. So there we go. So go into your device manager and have a look at it under the the ports in here. As you can see, my USB serial device. If you have several of these things, you're not sure which is which, just unplug the one you're working with. So you can see once I unplug mine, it'll disappear, and then plug one in, and it will reappear. So there we go. That's how we find out our COM port. And from there on, if you go into the transfer communications configuration and select correct port in here and click test. If all goes well, that's what should pop up. So having done that, pretty much ready to go for the next task. The next thing what we're going to do is we are going to transfer to get the program without even, because you can go, what you're going to know, you can start as a new project and things like that, but most of you is going to be working on will be wanting to get program out of the controller. That's what we're going to do in here. We're going to transfer program, and go module to PC. And there we go. If all works well, it will go straight into, if the communication is done very well and it all works as it should do, you should get this window and it will start pumping out the program. So we're gonna have a bit of a look around this software in a minute. It's a quite interesting one, something I've never had from other softwares I work with, which I'll show you in a minute. So, but the looks of it, this is what is inside the controller, and what you're using up are 29 rows out of 200 40. As you can see, you can do quite a lot. So this is the program. If you want to save it up, just go into save, and I'll save under that one, and here we go. Just click yes, override it, and here we go, and you're saved up for the rainy day. But if you are starting from scratch, so what we're going to do in here, we are going to actually start it from, we're going to close this off. We're going to start up again, so give you the starting window, which you can do it from the program, but just thought it will be good for you to have a look at it from the start once you, or as soon as we open the software. So again, it's taking its time. There we go. So from there on, so we can see in here, we're going to create a new program. As you can see in here, you can have all sorts of different other things in here, open existing things up, but we're going to create a new program. And this kind of window should pop up. From there on, you need to choose in what group you are into. So my one is going to be this group because I am in SR2. So there's a part number right above the communications port or on the side of the controller, which will give you the part number or actual item. So I'm in SR2, and the 26 is SR3, the 20 is SR2, and I think 10 is SR1. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's SR1. So and there's other options you have in here. So find your part number. So my one is this one, SR2A21B. 21BD. Yeah, that's me. So next, and it will for this particular controller, yeah, it will take you straight into the programming window. But I'll show you quickly the other controllers. You have two options. You have other option of a programming, the way you want to program. So so we're gonna do in here. We're gonna open new again, but this time we're gonna go in there and go into B. All right, and when you go into B, he will obviously can have an options for extra add-ons to the side, and also you can give you an option for ladder and FBD. FBD is very similar to the way Siemens and Mitsubishi does, and there we go. You just drag and drop. So we are not going to be using this window because I am more in a ladder, so I work with ladder. So plus my controller doesn't support this function, this operation, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, so here we go. Let's go back onto it next, and we are pretty much ready to start programming. To program with a Zelio is actually quite straightforward, and Schneider has done some very interesting things, which is I support it. I think it's really cool, and the way they made it easy. So let's say you want to just, as you can see down here, right in the bottom, we got inputs. We got the Zelio buttons, the Z buttons up, down, things like that. So, and then we have M's, and then we got outputs, timers, and I think these are counters, fast counters. I'm not sure what the V is for, but I'll let you guys to check all that out, and then you can obviously work with text and LCD as well. But what we're gonna do in here, so you want to select. We're gonna create like a basic latch program, as we always do when we test the controllers. So you grab it and hold it, and then just drag it. So here we go. You took it into the thingy, and this is it. This guy in here is telling you the program is good or not. As you can see, mine is not good. So then you have to sort of choose where you do you want to put any contact 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you don't, just click on the literally in the middle in the lines. As you can see, as I'm clicking it, it adds the lines into it. I don't want anything in there. And if you want to like connect two lines, two rows together, you can do it like that. If you don't like it, just click it again. It will remove it for you. And then we're going to go into coil. When you go into coils, it's quite interesting. You have options of the coils, which is, I've never seen other guys doing that. This is, again, Schneider's quite unique what they do. I do like it. It's really good. So as you can see, you have 4 states. You can have active on contactor state, then you have impulse, then you have set, and then you have reset. So which is really cool. You don't need to have any function for it. Just click how you want that output to operate. So what we're going to do, we're going to set it. So hold it, drag it, and put it in there. So as you can see, my guy is still not happy. He's still showing me red in there. So if you want to find out what is the problem, so you can click on it, and it will pretty much come up with this guy in here saying Q1 reset input not connected. So he's pretty much telling you, look, mate, you gotta have reset. If you have set, you gotta have reset for that thing. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and grab another input, which is going to be I input 2. And then we're gonna basically go all the way down, and we're gonna insert, and again you go onto it, and as you can see it's dark and darks out. The one's already used, so we grab our reset, and boom. So I haven't done that, so our mister here should be happy. So here we go, he's happy, he's got no issues whatsoever. And yeah, we're pretty much ready to load. Ooh, don't want to put that one in. It's already come up red for me. So, and that, what we need to do to pretty much for this video, that should do for our first introduction to a programming Zelio. From there on, let's pump it inside into the PLC. Well, smart relay PLC, call it what you like. So, and then we're going to choose. Ooh. And we're going to choose PC to module. This opens up, and then let's put into, no, we're not going to put run mode now. So then I was talking about if you want to put passwords and things like that, which is often they say they should. We're not going to do that. So there we go. So then it tells you, would you like to save it? We're going to save it in program MZ2. Save it. Yes, replace it. And then it tells you, obviously, are you happy to do that? Yes, we are. Off you go. So here we go. So once that's done, it's going to pump the program in. That's pretty much the upload. We've already done the download. Now we're doing an upload. So I know it's other way around for PLCs, but it is what it is. So, and there we go. So that should be it. So I'm not sure how much can you see in the camera. So next thing what we're going to check out is monitoring mode. This is where I was quite surprised in how they interact with IOs within the monitoring mode. So you have these guys in here, which is edit, which is simulation. If you want to go in simulation, you can simulate it if you wish to, and also you have monitoring mode. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go into monitoring mode. Starting up the monitoring mode is bit lengthy. It takes about 2 of these windows, what you see now, for them to load up. Basically, is reading the program, then it's connecting to it, and here goes, going to be another one as well, and then it's module monitoring startup in process. So so now what we're going to do, we're going to go into the monitor. Once it decides to start up, our little Schneider thing is going to be running like crazy in a minute. And here we go. So once we are in a monitoring mode, you have a couple options. Okay, what we're going to first do, we're going to put this into run mode. So basically now is just basically change the state of the CPU and change that to run. So as you can see down here, you have a couple of options in here, but the way it works is sort of showing you what's clicked, what's not clicked down here. So the way it works, you literally just go onto it, and you see this one is a discrete input, which is actual physical input. And most PLCs, and I mean all the PLCs I work, don't allow you to interact with physical inputs. This guy, let me just go into the video in here. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. This guy, which was a bigger shocker to me, he allows you to do it. And there we go. And he just activated my belt from monitoring mode, and that is a physical input. Shocker! I didn't know you're allowed to do that, but obviously there's a lot. Why are you not? Here we go. It's a bit of a response time. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to show. So this is put in monitoring mode, and you can interact with your IOs in here and things like that. So what we're gonna do for the finish of the video, let's jump onto the actual live camera and have a look how that works. Actually, before we go, I quickly want to show you this window, these windows in here, these buttons here. I was going to do that, but I was just, once I finished, I was like, oh, I forgot about those. So these windows, so once you click on them, they'll open up these things in here. So let me just quickly check something. You should. No. So as you can see in here, you can interact with in here, and also see what is going on with your IOs in here with these windows as well in here. So let's say I click that I1 in here. So don't ignore that 7, because that's my pulse has been sending back from the PLC. So as you can see, and I can literally do the switching from here. Once my, come on. Sorry, the response, I don't know why the response is so slow. So, and also, which is really interesting, if I click start in here, and as you see this Q1 is on, I can actually turn it off in here as well. Which is, what? It's interesting. It's a bit of a fun one for me, as I've never worked with, never had a chance to interact with IOs like that before. So usually the physical ones, you cannot just turn things on and off just like that. But obviously for Zelio it does. So yeah, now let's jump on the PLC. To finish off our video, let's have a look at it. So there's our button. So by clicking one button, as you can see, the belt goes forward, it spins, and we've got a shows right down there, as you can see in the little screen. We've got the lamp on, but it looks of it, my IOs are the other way around, but it doesn't matter. So my output's in here, so the lamp comes on, the bell comes on, and then obviously we clicking that is a stop, start, stop, start, stop. It is that. So if you want to see how this belt conveyor works, I've done previous videos explaining already in detail how this works and things like that. So definitely check out. So I think most of it's done on a Mitsubishi. So yeah, that will do, ladies and gentlemen, for this video. Next video we can continue. I think I'm gonna look into updating the firmwares and looking a bit more in details. And also we're gonna be checking out the analog video as well. So that, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to smash that like, do subscribe if you're new to the channel, and of course if you want to support the channel and like what we're doing here. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next video.